How do you see your take on being a parish priest? How do you fit within your community?
Thank you. Yes, so I may not look it necessarily, but I do consider myself to be a traditional parish priest in the way I work and live. And so I think the most important thing for me is to be. So I tend to joke to people when they say, you've got 14 parishes, how can you possibly look after all those? I say, I've got a good team around me of church wardens and fellow clergy and ministers, so I tend to try and spend my time doing as little as possible. But what I do like to do, I've got a dog, I walk the dog around lunch, through the town and around, I take him into morning prayer with me. We tend to have a number of our meetings with church wardens and PCCs in the pubs locally, so that people can see and get to know us. Because we put stuff out online, people perhaps see me there. And I really love just walking through the high street and having the young people, particularly perhaps they might have seen me at their school. Oh, hello Dominic, or he comes to our school. People might come over to me and say, oh, you're going to be doing a funeral, or you've done a funeral for a friend of mine, or there's a young woman who helps at one of the fish and chip shops locally, who every time I go in, she jokes, oh, he married my parents, and then they joke about whether I married them or not, and of course I officiated at their marriage. But I think that's a very important part of being, particularly in a rural situation, being simply available to people. Whether I'm wearing my collar or not, people know that I am somehow theirs. There's an expression that pray as if it all relies on God, and act as if it all relies on you. But I tend to be very happy that what God is doing in our community, God is doing, and I'm following and kind of catching up. So God is at work in the world, and I have to be open to and aware of that. I think it's in the ordinal, isn't it? So that's the service, the prayers, as somebody's made a priest. It says one needs to be looking out for and engaging with what is happening. And people come knock on our doors and they ask if they can be baptised. People ask if they can come to church, if they can become Christian. We don't have any particular projects or programmes to enable those conversations, but just being out and about enable that. And I think I start from that perspective, that from my background, I have found faith to be very supportive and helpful, whether it's that experience of God in me, enabling that God gives, but also the structures and the friendship and the community that being part of church offers for people, whether they are a glass half full person, a glass half empty person, whether life is going well for them, or whether life is a challenge at the moment. I think we can all share. I was talking to our youth and families worker just yesterday about how she loves having our TOPS group, our church mice group, where parents, carers perhaps are finding things difficult, and they bring their children, and older people go along and they offer the cuddles to the children whilst other people are talking to each other about the challenges and the joys of parenting. And that's just the sort of thing I think that church offers, no strings attached. And if people are interested in faith, we can offer that. We've got a couple of people going forward for confirmation in the next couple of months. 1 or 2 people wanting to pursue ministry, becoming elders, and one person possibly pursuing becoming a priest. We've got a curate joining us later in the year, and we'll be advertising with Team Vicar in the next month or 3.
It's been great talking to you, and look forward to joining you at 8:30.
You'd be very welcome.
Thank you.